This is Weiss Has Issues, the student podcast where Mr. Weiss takes issues with the issues students have. A Fishbowl Studios production at Marysville Early College High School. Oh, yeah! Welcome to another issue of Weiss Has Issues, the student podcast at Marysville Early College High School. The podcast where I, Mr. Weiss, take issue with the issues students have. So today is a special day. We're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. That is exactly what we're going to do today. But Toby, let's first say hello, Toby. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Are you doing great?
I'm doing great.
Okay, you. Those of you that can't see because it's audio, you can't tell that Toby is just wearing his black sunglasses right now. Why? None of us know.
It's so you can't tell when I'm about to laugh.
Oh, okay.
Anytime,
I can't tell that anyway.
Anytime you do your intro.
Okay.
Even though you don't make me laugh. I just mean in general for if someone else makes me laugh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Yep.
But yeah, we're going to talk about something just fun that seems to have a lot of kids around school invested, right? Something to do, right? So we're going to talk Dungeons and Dragons. And with us today, we've got Mina. Say hello, Mina.
Hello.
Mina and Ryan.
Hi.
Hi,
Ryan.
I'm a person.
You are, and I'm glad
It is a
because
person.
if you
I
if you
exist.
were a
I very much exist.
if you were something else, we would have issues. So Mina, real quick, what grade are you in? What pathway you in? And do you play Dungeons and Dragons?
I'm in 10th grade and I'm on the IT pathway.
Okay.
I don't usually like play, but like I usually like campaign.
Okay.
Like that person.
All right, Ryan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm her issues.
You're her issues. Okay.
I'm her issues.
What grade are you in,
yes.
Ryan?
I am 10th grade and I take the health pathway.
Okay. And you do play.
I'm more the person who likes to play than make the story.
Okay.
And that's the entire reason she has issues.
All right. So, and that's why you're on Weiss Has Issues, because you guys have issues.
No,
See
just
that?
Just because it's all D&D. Like,
Oh,
sure,
okay.
Sure,
All right.
why not?
Well, real quick, between the three of you, give us the rundown of what D&D is. Like, can you just explain it? Because people listening might not understand even what D&D is.
An entire world of pure imagination where you can be whatever you want to be, and you can like have swords and fight monsters, and just you can go on a whole campaign being the hero or the villain of the story, and just do whatever you want.
It's a good explanation.
Is it a good explanation?
I would do more of a technical one.
Give me the technical one.
It is a role-playing imagination game. It can be a tabletop or just paper sort of way you want to play, depending if you have all the pieces. You have one person who's in charge, tells the story, and you have other people experiencing the story in a usually fantasy world. It's usually like a fantasy-ish world, but you can also do like, I know there's Star Wars. Is there any other ones? It's like Star Wars and the...
And like there's like
You can do literally anything.
Yeah, it's
like real life
anything.
ones.
I just know there's like one where they actually like did a really good like Star Wars one. I think they made like a book, like just like rule book, not rule book, but like a way to transfer all
and
of it
do
over.
it into Star Wars.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the only one I can remember because I just remember like it was really popular. But
Okay.
Mina-
Go ahead,
To
Ryan.
prove how much the limits literally go, someone could literally make a vast unicorn world.
yeah, you could do
Right.
that.
Okay.
With pink everywhere. There's
if they
literally-
really wanted to.
If they really wanted
If
to,
they
right?
really wanted to.
So
Well,
what
I
I'm
wouldn't
hearing
say
is
yes.
it's a game. There's a little bit of is it like a board game?
It can be if you have the pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
So it can be a little bit of that.
But if you're broke like me, you can
Right.
just use some paper and you could use.
But it also
books.
sounds like somewhat of like a choose your own adventure,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
It's
and
role
different
play.
ways to do things, and you can kind of make up the like you said, the imagination. Like you can get creative
It's
with
a
it.
role play game where you just
Also-
have some fun.
Okay.
Some dice, pencils.
What are you saying, Mina?
It also depends like on what the dungeon master or like
Yeah.
campaign person.
So
Can you
there's-
Sizes.
explain to people what a dungeon master is?
Dungeon master is like someone who like runs the game or runs the story kind of.
Yes,
Okay.
they're like they're the narrator. They play all the they're the villains that fight. Like if there's like
I gotcha.
like wolves and they're fighting the main characters, they do the wolves moves and
Okay.
things, and they do
Kind of like the captain of
they're
the game.
they're like the little like narrator of the whole world.
Okay.
Basically,
Oh
go
my
like all of a sudden, out of nowhere in the darkness, an ogre just pops out.
They are God. They're literally like the God. Of the
They.
world.
Okay,
That's
how-
like
that's
the
a
best-
good way to put it.
that's
how I reference it all the time. Is
It's a narrator.
Mina's the god of
Yes,
the world
I
now.
am the god.
So, Mina, are you a dungeon master?
Yes.
Gotcha. So you run their games
Yes.
when they're
Yeah,
playing.
she's the
And
god.
control
That-
Ryan.
And you get to control Ryan.
I
Okay.
That is.
So you can
what-
just say at any
what
one
Dungeon
point that
Master-
the Ryan dies.
I
Oh,
could.
she can literally do that every
I
time.
struck him by lightning one time.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Look, he's like,
I was like,
"What?"
what?
But that's interesting. Okay, so Ryan, you play.
She also wants to make me a demigod.
Well, okay.
And then I regret it.
And then Mina, you're a dungeon master.
Yes.
Okay. So I've seen kids out here playing, right? Like in
Oh.
open space and stuff. Are a lot of people playing?
Not particularly a lot of people that I've seen, but that one out there is actually the one we've been doing.
Okay.
Like playing with because in Miss Kua's class
Okay.
of D&D,
Right.
we just wanted to continue the story.
Okay.
Because we never finished it, and we wanted to continue to see how far we could go,
Right.
and just keep going anyways.
So then you've just kind of extended that and just what is it? Join Nucleus.
Yeah,
Or
pretty much
lunch or
we
whatever, like-
decide every nucleus we'll just do this.
Okay.
I don't do it anymore. Like I got bored.
You got bored.
I got bored for things we weren't really progressing in it. So
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, but so you guys are just it's a continuation of a game you were already playing.
yeah,
And I see that is Mrs. Kula and Mr. Orr, are they doing a Dungeons and Dragons
There you go.
seminar class?
yeah. Again,
Yes.
They're
And that's what they did before, right?
Yeah.
They've done that before?
Oh no, they've done it before.
Oh, they've done it before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I said they have like the seminar thing. I don't know if they're doing it again. Or
No, I think
but-
they have
Yeah.
it this seminar, yeah.
I think
Okay.
you
Don't they
signed
do it?
up
I
for
thought they do it every
Oh, yeah,
summer.
I
I
do.
thought they do it
That's
winter
what I
and
think.
spring. I feel like they've done it for like
Yeah,
a year.
I think they do too.
it's real
And that's-
fun.
But I say it's really fun. So, give me one crazy D&D story.
Basic,
You gotta limit it down to one. You gotta give me an appropriate two.
basically
right?
when I said that she
Appropriate.
turned me into a demigod,
Okay.
the entire story what happened. Like Mina was making an entire world where we were having to solve like this big thing or whatever, and Ben from Ben he was messing up the puzzles a little bit,
Okay.
and then he ended up overtaking Mina as the god of the world, coming in and becoming the god. Gave up his god abilities back to Mina, and then Mina punished him by making me a demigod.
Wow. So Ben's punishment was you becoming a demigod.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. See what kind of player you are.
Yeah.
Right.
I did nothing the entire time. It was literally the entire time that story was going on. I wasn't paying attention to most of it because I was just laying in my bed.
Okay.
Because
Alright.
you
Laying in my
don't
bed.
pay
Okay.
attention a lot.
All right.
You
All
can't
right.
pay attention for long periods of time without doing anything.
Mina, you got a crazy D&D story
Well,
or a
I want
fun one? Just something fun.
I want to add on to Ryan's a little
Okay.
bit. Okay, so what was happening? They're like in like a cave with like kind of like a chessboard
Yeah.
type, and they can only step on certain like squares.
Yeah.
But Ben decided to throw a rock at one of the squares, and then he messed
Broke
it
the
up.
entire puzzle.
He broke the game.
He broke it.
Yeah, he broke it.
Like they ruined her entire plan for us to find like some kind of artifact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He
And then
ruined her
at
entire
that point,
plan.
I was just like making stuff up.
You just going with it.
Yeah.
Her plan was for
Okay.
us to go back and then fall
So you
down.
just destroyed the game.
Yeah, he was supposed to like fall down in one of the holes, but he
Okay.
didn't do that.
He threw a rock.
He threw a rock instead of actually stepping on it.
Very nice.
Tell me that.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
that's a good move right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So, what kind of materials do you have for this? Like I heard you mention like books and there's pieces. Like what
Ooh.
can you get?
Are you talking-
Just anybody.
Pretty much, you can actually like if you can do anything, like there could be all of a sudden like a chest, and you could open it and you could find, for instance, you could probably find like a spear or a sword.
Right.
You could find any weapons. You could find maybe tools, maybe magical artifacts you might need to progress in the story.
Right.
To possibly like let's say that someone made like a magical artifact that can only be used to defeat a dragon or something.
Right.
And they have like a dragon like little miniature thing on
Yeah.
like.
Okay,
What?
so there are actual
So,
pieces.
Yeah, it's no
yeah,
miniatures.
it's,
Go ahead, Joe.
Alright, so I just am an old person, so I've been doing this
Oh my
probably
gosh,
since
it's-
you guys have been doing it. I played D&D when it was not cool, and I feel like it's
Okay.
starting to become a little bit cooler. Not
Right.
as cool, but it's getting there. Alright.
Right.
So there's you can have boards. So there's terrain boards or something. I don't know if there's a proper name.
Okay.
Basically, you can or paper. You can print out like a paper where it's like like just like scenery, and you can buy like things like trees, like tiny trees, or like buildings.
Okay.
Like you can make a world out of like little
Oh, wow,
miniatures,
okay.
and you can have your actual figures. So you can have like characters. Like you can get like an elf,
A foreman.
or rogue or something,
Right, you
person,
get
and you can buy them. You get figures for
Okay,
it,
okay.
and they also, I'm pretty sure they do cards. You can get cards.
You can get
too.
cards.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can get
yeah,
cards.
there's cards.
You can
Yeah.
do cards,
There are cards.
or you could use there's Magic Gathering, that
Okay.
card game. You can use
Right.
that. I've used my
You
friends
could use Magic the Gathering in
cards. I mean, you don't use the cards, but like you can use
Right.
it as a picture, which is
Okay.
what we did. That's
Right.
what my friends did because we were broke and we had those cards. So we would use a picture and be like, that looks pretty good. And then you can we don't do anything with it, just put them out there so your brain kind of gets a little help with it.
Right.
Yeah, you can do all sorts of stuff. Or if you don't have any of that, you can always just do straight up from your head.
I was gonna say you could.
You can
you
literally
just
have
make it
your
up.
you can have your book. Usually, I usually how we play. We have our manuals, tell us the rules and stuff. We have our books, and then we have
Right.
our character sheet, and then dice, and just pencils. And then the other person can have their stuff. They can
Right.
cover it up, like their books
Right.
and stuff. Or
Can you buy books? Like, can you buy things that
Oh,
are
there's-
kind of pre?
there's
Oh,
oh
yeah.
yeah
You can
oh
do that.
yeah they have hundreds of.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
they have like
I
hundreds of.
actually
You
have
can
a
get
box of
pre-made
Okay.
stories. You can get rule books, monster books.
Okay.
Yeah,
spell
I have
books.
some of the books.
You have
Yeah.
some of the books.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. And
So you can do that. So it's that's the kind of cool part about it too, right? Like
yeah, you keep
you
adding
can you
on.
can do it where you buy the stuff and you have a whole, or you just make it up.
And you can
Right.
buy over time, so then you can like keep
Right.
getting more
Okay.
stuff over time. It's a it's a collectible thing kind of too.
How long have you been playing?
About maybe
A year.
year or so.
A year or so.
Year
My
and a
number's
half-ish.
gonna be bad.
Toby, how long you been playing, Toby?
7 years.
7 years.
I've
Dang,
been
he's been
playing for Wait, hold on. Let me do the math. 7.5, maybe 8, but I think it's more 7.5
Okay.
years.
10
Okay.
or 11.
And you've been playing Madison. You've been playing. Okay, so see.
I've been
I
playing
have
for a
not
while.
been playing ever.
And those
I've
who are
never
listening in, yes, we are nerds.
Yep.
Yeah, some of you who did not know, I am one.
Toby is a nerd.
I am
Yeah,
indeed a
I
nerd. I
am.
studied high school
Even
for
though-
all my life.
Even though I am so cool and popular, and I know you'd like not know that, but I'm
know,
like
I think
such a nerd.
I think the definition of nerd maybe has changed.
Oh no, it has.
Yeah.
And 2, I don't know if being quote unquote nerd is not
not.
cool,
It's
right?
not.
I'm not
Like,
ashamed of it. I like it.
There's two definitions of nerd, like adult nerd and then like kid nerd.
I admit,
That's
I'm
so
between.
true.
Adult nerds are rich.
okay.
That's
Elon
yeah.
Musk, right? Bill
Uh,
Gates, they're nerds,
Yeah.
but they're rich.
Yeah.
You guys, it's
We're poor. We're broke.
playing
We're
Dungeons
poor,
and Dragons.
We're homeless.
yeah.
But it is kind of interesting though that some of the things that, like, because Dungeons and Dragons have been around for a while.
Oh,
Like
yes,
I played it in high school. Like I
yes.
remembered it, right? But things that you would think used to be what would get you called a nerd are slowly becoming. While they're not becoming cool, you're not necessarily getting called a nerd for it
No,
anymore.
it was-
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
Dungeons and Dragons, like you're still like a nerd. You play it, but like no one ever calls you out on it.
right?
I feel like I don't know why. I don't know if this. I sound so old, but I know I'm not that much older.
Do it.
I
But I
feel
sound old. No, I say I feel like I was in the time period
Right.
where it started to shift. Like whenever
Okay.
I got into high school.
Right.
That was literally the time around that time.
Right.
Is when it was like okay, because I got bullied for all that crap from like elementary, middle school. But like transitioning from that into it, it's like everything I like was like oh okay that's normal. I'm like when did that happen? Like I didn't even know when that happened. I just
Ryan,
it's so
Mina, do you
weird.
two feel like? Do you feel like anybody like be like, oh, they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, or
No.
is it just kind of like, man,
And
whatever?
No, I think it's
they'll
because like
look.
Stranger Things came out and they're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
from
it's becoming
that.
mainstream.
I was gonna say there's
Also-
pop culture stuff, right?
Yes.
Stranger Things, they're doing that. I can even go back. I know the show's it's not on anymore, but like Big Bang Theory,
They-
right? And how
Yeah,
they
but
kind of
now
made
season.
nerd being kind of cool,
or
like.
fun, or like just
It's fun,
entertaining.
like, yeah.
it's
And so
entertaining.
you guys don't feel like that at all.
No.
Like you're just like I'm doing what I'm doing, and
Also,
no
because
big
of the
deal.
fact that this entire school is doing a nerd school.
it is.
And
That's a fair point. Like, are we a school that makes being a nerd at least not uncool?
I'm not even ashamed of it. I
Right.
like being a nerd.
Like,
I
at-
find it fun.
Oh, good.
At the high school, my friend got like bullied kind of
Yeah.
for it last year.
Okay.
She did air quotes by the way.
Yes.
No, we can't.
I do it
see
too.
that.
I mean, I do it all the time. I'm in here. I'm like, nobody can see it.
Yeah.
But so
Emphasis
you
on the
so a
earbuds.
friend of yours was kind of feeling a little
Yeah.
bit of that.
Yeah, but she's at the high school,
Okay.
so like it's different types of people.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, again, we as a STEM school, we get kids that are
Nerds.
well. I wouldn't say that, but I think they're just a little more minded in like technology and science and that kind of stuff. And
Yep,
sometimes
nerds.
that, let's be honest, that leads to a little bit more
Nerd.
of those kind of things, right?
Mm,
Like
wow.
Dungeons and
D&D.
Dragons.
D&D and just doing those kind of things.
Pickleball.
Pickleball. Oh, don't let Mr. Worth hear you say that pickleball is
Listen,
nerdy.
pickleball is cool. I don't know.
Pickleball is cool.
Come on. Have you seen him like weasel his way around that court?
Yeah, I have.
He's crazy.
It is.
He's insane. All right?
Like look at superhero Marvel stuff and
Oh,
DC
that's
around
right.
here.
Oh,
Everybody
Spider-Man.
talks about
Yeah.
that stuff,
That's
right?
changed so
And so I think there
weird.
is like a popular culture thing where, again, being nerd isn't necessarily bad,
It means you're fun.
but it's not
I've
necessarily
met
cool.
more
I mean,
people
but
who
it's
like K-pop here.
So what I think
K-pop.
I think
and
what
nobody
happened
likes
was,
K-pop apparently.
I think it just became like
No.
mainstream. Like it just
Right.
became like it wasn't like about like the Marvel movies. Like
Right.
they just became like just fun and like just kind of cool. Like the movies themselves are like
Right.
entertaining and cool and funny even. And like Stranger Things with D&D, everyone was like, "Oh,
Right.
this show is sweet," and it's like they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like I didn't even know that existed. And it's like that's not that uncool. I mean,
Right.
hey, it's just a game, you know. So I feel like people are opening up, and I was in that literally that year that it started to shift because I stopped. No one cared about it really so
Right.
much. And then obviously I've just transformed to the cool self I am right
I mean,
now.
I gotta say that it makes me happy though that you, like Ryan and Mina, that you feel like you're playing this and you're in that world and nobody makes you feel bad about like right
you kids didn't
like,
have it as
if
bad
anything-
as me back in the day.
Right. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Now, again, you say you're old. Look at me, buddy.
I know.
Right.
You got a good 30 years on me.
I don't know about 30, but
40.
okay.
40, you're right.
20 maybe.
40.
22.
45.
The thing is you were if you played Dungeons and Dragons and did stuff like that, there was like this whole other world. Like you were
Right.
almost looked at like, okay, there's those kids, and I don't think it's like that anymore.
No, it's
No.
different.
Right, like it is. It's just like, oh, they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and like I said, it doesn't make you cool, but it also doesn't make you like a target for ridicule. Like people are just
Yeah.
like, that's what they're doing.
No, it's just
Like it's not a big deal.
If anything, I think the definition of nerd to me means that you're just more fun to be around.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Hey man,
'Cause you
that's a
have-
pretty good
you have all the Marvel
definition.
comics.
That is. That's
Pretty
a good definition.
Go to a nerd's house. Go to a nerd's house. I guarantee you, there's probably all the Marvel comics.
See, I would like that.
That
I would
is,
like that.
I mean, I don't want
It's
to
on the
like
or all the Marvel movies.
That's fair.
I
In
mean,
a bookcase,
that's-
it's gonna be like all the Marvel
Fair.
movies too. There's on a bookcase. So
Yeah, and then they might be like organized alphabetically or
definition
something
nerd
like
is
that.
meaning.
Or by series.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Do you feel like Dungeons and Dragons could teach kids any certain types of skills? Like, could you get anything out of playing Dungeons and Dragons? Like usable skills?
Teamwork, maybe.
Imagination.
Teamwork? Okay, explain that real quick.
Basically, when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, unless you're playing by yourself,
Right.
you generally have like a team of heroes.
Okay.
Like one could be like a bard. He has to use his music to charm you,
I do like bards.
and or there could be a wizard. He has to use his magic to protect you.
Okay.
Or there could be like a barbarian who has to use his brute strength to help others on the way.
Yes.
So let me do the teacher thing that I'm supposed to do, right? Because I'm a teacher. That sounds like collaboration.
Oh
Right?
my
There's
God.
there's one skill
Whoa.
of a habit of mind, right? But you're right. You're playing a game, but you're all kind of you're
You all
kind of
have
having to do
different
this stuff
abilities.
together.
So I think
Right?
the designers of the games, they have classes, and you can pick your class when you make
Or
a character.
multi-classes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can do that.
Oh,
too.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I think the whole point, they're like, hey, look, you got like this little sneaky guy, and you got a
Bro.
big guy. You're gonna need both to get
Right.
through that.
Honestly, I like playing both barbarians and rogues. 'Cause I think there's really
It would be
fun.
interesting to see the process of them making the stuff to see how much thought they
because
actually
it's
put
like,
into that.
yeah, because like,
That should
all right,
be
I'm gonna sound nerdy. You know, you got orcs, or tall guys,
Right.
big guys. And there's like a little tiny hole. There's like a little tiny hole,
Alright,
and
wizard,
then
use
it's
your fireball,
like,
blast it
wait,
open.
and it's like, oh man, but we got a dwarf right here. He could get in that hole. You can't fit. Well, you can get in there, right?
No, don't worry, we got a ferry. She can
Okay.
fly down there.
All right. So I'm also hearing a little bit of like I'm gonna do it again. The outside the box thinking stuff.
Oh,
Yes.
Right, like the idea of
Yes.
like, okay, this won't work, but you know what will work?
like Mina
This
said,
thing.
imagination.
Yeah.
Right.
Outside
so
the
you
box.
were gonna say another skill. You said imagination.
Yeah.
Explain. I mean,
Like,
That's outside the box.
if you're the dungeon master, you get to like make up like all of these things.
right.
Right.
And you're the one coming up with it.
Right.
And
The
so
world.
there's not it's not only imaginative, right?
Creativity.
But it's that outside the box thinking. You're going, okay, so tiny hole, big orc, small dwarf, which one? Right? Like, and you're right.
Here's
So
the
you got to
thing.
think about it.
Yeah.
Right? And since you're being creative, you sometimes really got to think outside of the box.
Yeah.
You also play as a
Especially
fairy.
with him.
Especially with Ryan, you telling me? Especially
Right.
with Ryan. Okay.
Yes.
Any other skill? Would you? Okay, so we've got collaboration. We've got outside the box thinking. What would you think?
I told you this earlier.
I know, but-
out of confidence. It straight up helps me with quick math. When you roll the dice and you
Oh,
have to
yes,
add really
yes.
quick.
Oh yes.
It helped me weirdly with just doing quick math because sometimes when I first did it, I sucked at math. I would have to sit there and be like, "Well, you using my fingers right now," and like count with my finger. Now I can just do it really quick.
Right.
I don't know why it helped me with quick math, but it just helps with that.
No, it does.
At the time, it was really nice.
It does. It's like people working in a at any like retail place that have to work the cash register.
Right.
You go in. Eventually, you can just do change and stuff without having
Yeah.
to do it right. Like you could just do like because
Sadly,
you're
maybe.
doing something and you
Yeah.
eventually figure it out.
That's
Sadly,
a very
you-
specific one. I know you can't like go overall, but it's
Right.
still it helps.
No,
you.
I think that's actually pretty good. Like you're going to learn some of those skills, math being one of them, right? Is there like resilience in it? Like, do you have to kind of keep going,
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Like-
you have to keep going.
or like fight through things?
Yes.
Okay,
Very much.
explain.
Basically, sometimes you can be like in dungeons, and there could be like all these different monsters in there. And
Right.
It's a fight and kill because there's no other way.
Right.
Okay.
Like for instance, when we played, we had to fight through some skeletons in a dungeon because we literally had no other choice. We had to progress forward through the dungeon,
Okay.
and so we had to fight out lots of hordes of skeletons. So we would actually, since I was like playing lizard folk and I had divine sense, I could like, they would tell me, use your divine sense to see if there's anything up ahead. I would
Okay.
keep doing it even though I also had a shield too, so I could protect them. And
Okay.
I'd keep doing it. And also, I was paladin, so I could heal them too.
Okay.
But-
So you kind of have to keep. You have to keep
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
I would use my divine sense, and then it was like, and it's like, you smell something rotting, yet there's skeletons up ahead.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So death.
Or
There's something
zombies.
up
Or zombies,
Or
like
zombies.
something random.
ahead.
So-
something dead up ahead.
We're getting to the end here. What I want is from each of you, Toby, you included, but I'll start with Mina just because Mina's at the far end of the table.
And she had not talked over.
If you were to have to do, you know these, your 30-second elevator speech
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
of why somebody should at least try to play Dungeons and Dragons, what would be your number one thing? Like, what would you say to them?
Go.
30
30 seconds. Start now.
Just now. I would probably say it like expands your small brain.
Okay,
Your-
I'm
it's-
done
expand-
now. No,
It
okay.
expands your brain and it like helps with like teamwork. Like I
Okay.
I forget your name.
Yeah.
I like this.
Sorry.
The
If
this-
you have
the-
little baby brain, you can get big boy brain.
You get big
That's
boy
what
brain
Mina
with
really
wrinkles.
wanted to say.
Yeah.
Big wrinkle
But I
brain.
get what you're saying. You have to think so much that it helps
Yeah.
expand. I like that.
You
Okay.
also have to do
Big
quick
wrinkle.
thinking too.
Right. Okay. I love it.
Thanks.
Ryan.
Big wrinkle. Basically, what I would say for it, I would say that basically then you can play with friends, you can have like a lot of good time, and
Okay.
it'd be like very good you can socialize
Okay.
a lot with playing this game.
Right.
And then also you can do just so much. You can expand your imagination skills
Right.
just doing this, and then you can be able to create more and more and
Okay.
more things.
That's
Ju-
cool.
And also just imagine them. in general.
Okay. Toby.
Well, I believe that it would.
Say the good ones.
It's.
What to do now?
I think it's good for all of those reasons that they just stated, of
Right.
course. But also, I think it's weirdly good for socializing.
Okay.
I think that it can help people who don't really know how to like talk to other people, sort of communicate. I think it's good for communication and
Okay.
things of that sort. When you're playing with a group of people and you have to work together, and also you get to know those people
Okay.
and you start to make better friendships. And also people that you probably talk to for years. Like you probably make like really good friends out of that. And
right.
stuff like that. And sometimes not, because there has been a couple times where you don't like the people you're playing with. And sometimes you gotta keep doing it.
Sometimes they're not big wrinkle brain, they're big smooth brain.
Yeah, it's I think it's a good opportunity for that, and just also, it's not as bad as people perceive it, or some people perceive it, since it's
Right.
now becoming a little bit better.
Right. I thought when Toby was going to say, he was going to go, well, you should listen to me because I'm cool and I wear sunglasses inside the building. Just listen to me.
Well, you should listen to him. Look at the sunglasses.
Right, exactly. Look at that guy. He's wearing sunglasses in a building. I'm going to listen to him.
Yeah. Hey, 3 years ago, didn't wear sunglasses. Now look where I'm at. Now I'm buff and I got glasses.
Yeah, see, he can say that when it's a non-visual
That is true.
medium here.
That is true.
I
I can say
All
that.
right,
I
yeah.
can say that in two circumstances: when I am at the gym and when it's non-visual. Because at the gym, I look like I might be strong.
Well, Ryan, Mina, thank you for being here today. I think it was a fun conversation, and I think this is maybe I'll join sometime, or at least come by and see what you're doing.
Please don't.
Right? Like,
One thing in general.
I really will. Like again, I did. I played 25 years ago, but still, right?
Yeah, there's
Wait,
been
what's your graduating class?
No, we don't have to talk about
My mom's is 2000. She's 40.
it. Guess what? We're the same age. Okay, so.
Hey, buddy, there's been a couple
You're
editions
saying
that
they just
came out.
totally
You
know.
might
Oh,
wanna-
goodness.
Yeah, there's been a few, yes.
Been a few
but
editions.
Mina, Ryan, thank you. Toby,
I know.
as always,
I know.
thank you for you and your sunglasses. Madison, as always,
Trying
for
to-
making sure everything is running perfectly. This has been another issue of Weiss Has Issues, student podcast at Marysville Early College High School.